Hello 8th graders and happy Thursday. Today we're going to review angle relationships for the last time. We're going to look at triangles and parallel lines when they're put together and solve for missing angles. Let's get started. Look at shape number 1. Is that a translation, reflection, or rotation? That's a translation. The shape has simply moved. Look at number 2. Is that a translation, reflection, or rotation? That's a rotation. Look at number 3. Is that a translation, reflection, or rotation? That's a translation. Now let's solve for some missing angles. Find the unknown angle. I can see that the angles x, 34, and 110 are on a straight line. When angles are on a straight line, they are supplementary, or they add up to 180 degrees. So I can combine 34 and 110 and then subtract from 180 to find x. What's 34 plus 110? 34 plus 110 is 144. Now I can subtract from 180 to find the missing angle. What's 180 minus 144? Well, 10 minus 4 is 6, 7 minus 4 is 3. The missing angle is 36 degrees. Now you try one. Find x for number 5. X is 55 degrees. First I would add 50 plus 75 to get 125. Then I could subtract 180 minus 125, and I would find that x is 55 degrees. Now let's find the missing angle in a couple triangles. Remember that the angles in a triangle also add up to 180 degrees. So to find angle F, I could add 30 plus 40 and subtract from 180. What's 30 plus 40? Well, it's 70. Now I can subtract 180 minus 70 to find the missing angle. That's 110. Angle F is equal to 110 degrees. Now you try one. Find missing angle G in number 7. Angle G is 20 degrees. 80 plus 80 is 160. 180 minus 160 is 20. Now let's find some unknown angles with transversals of parallel lines. Look at number 8. 65 and x are alternate interior angles. That means that they are congruent or equal to one another. So what is the value of x? The value of x is 65 degrees. Now let's solve number 9. Angles x and 114 degrees are same side interior angles. That means that they're supplementary to one another, or they add up to 180. I can find x by subtracting 180 minus 114. What's 180 minus 114? Well, 10 times 4 is 6, and 7 minus 1 is 6. Angle x is 66 degrees. Today we're going to use our knowledge of angle relationships to solve for several missing angles. Let's start by solving for angle B. Angle B is on a straight line with 107 degrees, so I know that they add up to 180. So I can subtract 180 minus 107 to find angle B. What is angle B? Angle B is 73 degrees, because 73 plus 107 is 180. Now that I have angle B, I can fill in several other angles. I know that angle G is vertical to angle B. So what's the value of angle G? Well, vertical angles are congruent, or they have the same measure. So angle G is also 73 degrees. I can also use my parallel line relationships to help me. I know that B and C are alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles have equal measures. So angle C is also 73 degrees. Now, I can solve for angle D because it's an interior angle of a triangle. I know that the interior angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So I can add 73 and 45 and subtract from 180 to find angle D. 3 plus 5 is 8. 7 plus 4 is 11. I can subtract 180 minus 118 to find angle D. What's 180 minus 118? It's 62 degrees. Angle D is 62 degrees. I can solve for angle A in one of two ways. I know that angle A is on a straight line with angles C and D. I also know that angle A is an alternate interior angle to 45 degrees. That means angle A is equal to 45 degrees. Angle F is vertical to angle A. That means those two angles are congruent. So F is also 45 degrees. Now I can solve for E. I know that E is on a straight line with angle F. So 45 plus E equals 180. To solve for E, I can subtract 180 minus 45. Go ahead and do that now. Angle E is equal to 135 degrees. So even though I only started knowing two angles, I can solve for every other angle based on what I know about parallel lines and triangles. Let's do another. In the diagram, lines AB and CD are parallel. If angle ABC is 35 degrees and BAC is 115 degrees, what are angles ACE, DCB, and ACB? Well, if angle BAC is 115 degrees, I can find angle ACE because it is an alternate interior angle to BAC. Alternate interior angles are congruent or equal. So what is angle ACE? It's 115 degrees. Now I can solve for DCB. Angle DCB is an alternate interior angle to angle ABC. That means it's congruent. So if angle ABC is 35 degrees, what's angle DCB? It's 35 degrees. To solve for angle ACB, I could use a couple strategies. I can see that it's on a straight line with 115 degrees and 35 degrees. I can also see that it's the third angle of a triangle, where the other two angles are 115 degrees and 35 degrees. So I can add 115 and 35 and subtract from 180. What's 115 plus 35? 5 plus 5 is 10. 1 plus 1 plus 3 is 5. It's 150. What's 180 minus 150? It's 30. Angle ACB is 30 degrees. Let's do another together. Angle 1 equals 75 degrees. and angle 4 equals 30 degrees. What are angles 2, 3, and 5? Well, let's look at angle 5. Angle 5 is a corresponding angle to angle 1. So, angle 5 is equal to 75 degrees. Now I can solve for angle 3. I know that angle 3 is the third angle in a triangle. The other angles are 75 degrees and 30 degrees. So, how can I solve for angle 3? I can add 75 plus 30 and then subtract from 180, because all of the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 3 is 10. Now I can subtract. 180 minus 105. Angle 3 is also 75 degrees. Now, I can solve for angle 2 because angle 2 is on a straight line with angles 1 and 3. Angle 2 is also an alternate interior angle to angle 4. That means it's equal to angle 4. So angle 2 is 30 degrees. Let's do two more together. In this diagram, line X is parallel to YZ. What are angles A, B, and C? Angle A is an alternate interior angle to angle Y, 35 degrees. That means it's congruent. So what is angle A? Angle A is 35 degrees. Angle C is an alternate interior angle to 80 degrees. So what is angle C? It's 80 degrees. Now, I can find angle B by using the interior angles in a triangle. I know that three angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So I can add 35 plus 80 and then subtract from 180. 5 plus 0 is 5. 3 plus 8 is 11. What's 180 minus 115? Well, 10 times 5 is 5. 7 minus 1 is 6. Angle B is 65 degrees. Now let's look at another example. Two transversals intersect with parallel lines in this example. What's angle X? Well, angle X and 72 degrees are on a straight line. So I can find angle X by subtracting 180 minus 72. 180 minus 72 is 108 degrees. Angle X is 108 degrees. I know that that means this angle, vertical to 72, is also 72 degrees. Now I can solve for the third angle in the triangle by adding 45 degrees and 72 degrees and then subtracting from 180. What's 45 plus 72? Well, 5 plus 2 is 7, and 4 plus 7 is 11. Now I can subtract 180 minus 117. What's 180 minus 117? It's 63 degrees. So the third angle in the triangle is 63 degrees. That angle is vertical to angle Y. So angle Y also equals 63 degrees. If angle Y is equal to 63 degrees, I can find angle Z because the two are on a straight line. so I can subtract 180 minus 63 to find angle Z. What's 180 minus 63? It's 117. Angle Z is 117 degrees. I can use all of my angle relationships to help me find the missing angles. Now you try one. In this figure, lines J and K are transversals of parallel lines Q and M. What is the measure of each missing angle? Go ahead and try to find that now. Let's see how you did. I can find angle 1 because it's on a straight line with 110 degrees. 180 minus 110 is 70, so angle 1 is equal to 70 degrees. I can find angle 2 because it's on a straight line with 115 degrees. 115 plus 65 is 180, so angle 2 is 65 degrees. I can find angle 7 now because it's the third angle on the inside of a triangle. Angle 7 is equal to 45 degrees. 70 plus 65 is 135. 180 minus 135 is 45. Now I can find every other angle based on angle relationships. If angle 7 is 45 degrees, then angle 6 is also 45 degrees because the two angles are vertical. And angle 5 is also 45 degrees because it's the corresponding angle to angle 7. Angle 4 is 115 degrees. It's the corresponding angle to 115 degrees. And angle 3 is 65 degrees. It's the corresponding angle to number 2. Try another. What are the missing angles in this diagram? Angle DCE is 70 degrees because it corresponds to the 70 degree angle at the top. Angle ACB is 50 degrees because it's on a straight line with 70 degrees and 60 degrees. 60 plus 70 is 130. 180 minus 130 is 50. Then I can solve for angles ABC, knowing that it's the third angle in a triangle. There's a right angle and a 50 degree angle. 90 plus 50 is 140. And I can subtract from 180 to find 40. Now try one last problem. If angle 1 is 50 degrees and angle 2 is 55 degrees, fill in the missing angles. Go ahead and do that now. I can solve for angle 5 because it corresponds to angle 1, so it's worth 50 degrees. I can solve for angle 4 because it's vertical to angle 1, so it's worth 50 degrees. Angle 6 corresponds to angle 2, so it's worth 55 degrees. Angle 8 is vertical to angle 6, so it's worth 55 degrees. To solve for angle 3, I know that it's on a straight line with 50 degrees and 55 degrees. So I can add 55 plus 50 to get 105, and then subtract 180 minus 105. Angle 3 is worth 75 degrees. I can solve for angle 7 because it's on a straight line with angle 6. So I can subtract 180 minus 55 to find that angle 7 is 125 degrees. You've done a great job with this video. For today's practice, go to the link on your paper for Khan Academy practice, tinyurl.com/practice828. Do a great job.